Islamic studies. He's an educationist and a psychologist. The same thing with the minister, who is going to talk to us in a short while. What I will say to you about the minister is, he's a professor of digital economy. He's a renowned scholar worldwide. Yesterday in the night, I was trying to count his awards. When I reached 50, I stopped. Because he has gone beyond what I thought. So I was going through his background and trying to count the number of awards he grabbed around the world. Believe me, when I reached 50, I stopped. So please, allow me to just say that he's our current Minister of Communication and Digital Economy. His contribution, not to individual states, individuals, but to Nigeria in general, he has migrated and moved Nigeria from where it was to where we are today. And I'm telling you, I followed him to international conferences where he has been honored and where I've seen what he has done for Nigeria. So his coming to Nigeria is a blessing to all of us. And I believe when he speaks to us now, we are going to benefit more from him. Please join me to welcome the Honorable Minister of Communication to this important lecture. But before we start, as I said earlier, we gathered here today to listen to him on digital economy and where the northern part of Nigeria stands. The Executive Secretary of this forum has already highlighted that there is a wide gap between the North and the South in terms of Western education. And we need to wake up and make sure that we bridge this gap. Our leaders that are coming to occupy positions should know that the only thing they can do for us is to bridge this gap of wide gap between the North and South in education. And I believe when the minister speaks to us, we are going to benefit immensely from this lecture. Let me quickly say that in total, from now to the time we are going to be leaving this hall, we have a maximum of 1 hour, 30 minutes. The speaker is going to speak to us for 1 hour. We are going to dedicate 10 to 15 minutes for question and answers. And then we are going to have closing remarks and then closing prayers. All in all, we have 1 hour, 30 minutes. So, ladies and gentlemen, I invite the Honorable Minister to come forward and deliver his lecture. Thank you very much.
أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا وسيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. The chairman of the occasion and also the Vice Chancellor of Bayero University, Kano, our brother Professor Sagir Abbas Adamu, the chairman of the Islamic Forum of Nigeria, represented by the Vice Chair, our father Al-Haji M.T. Bello, the representative of the governor of Kano State, chief of staff to the governor, Al-Haji Usman Bala Muhammad, our father as the Murshid of the National Masjid, Professor Sheikh Ugala Enchi, the Executive Secretary of the Forum and also the Vice Chancellor of Al-Istiqama University, and also Wali Tafao Aleva, Professor Sadis Shehu, my colleagues, managing directors of Galaxy Backbone, and also Nigerian Communication Satellite, and also His Highness the area of Kano, represented by Wali, that is Wali Kano. Vice Chancellors here are present of Khadija University, and I am not aware of any university like Ali Padapaka University, but the name was mentioned here. Oh, the Kano State University of Science and Technology. Okay, so I have been indicated. Thank you very much. Members or council members of Islamic Forum of Nigeria, CEOs of various institutions here present, permit me to, for the remaining, to copy and paste the protocol earlier observed by the Executive Secretary, Professor Sani Shehu, in order to save our time. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, all other protocols duly and respectfully observed. Good evening to all of you, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah's peace, mercy, and blessings be upon you. I begin by thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the opportunity to travel from Abuja to Kano in order to present this lecture along with other activities, inshallah. Then I also want to use the opportunity once again to appreciate the Islamic Forum of Nigeria for inviting me to be here with you physically for this discussion. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide us aright and to make the presentation beneficial to humanity, particularly the listeners that are with me here physically and those who are going to listen virtually. Before I was called upon to address you, I was contemplating how to present the lecture, looking at the composition of the participants and the listeners here. Some are from academia, some from government, some from industry, some from associations, some from market, and many other places. So I was wondering how to present the lecture so that each and every listener will be able to appreciate the presentation and also benefit from it. It is one of the most difficult presentations to be made. Is for you to be invited to address a gathering that is not only for one class of stakeholders or one class of people, If it is in the academia, it is much, much easier, or for government officials. But today, the gathering is a collection of all. So this is what makes it difficult for me to make the presentation. However, I will inshallah make an attempt to ensure that each and every one of us here will be able to appreciate the presentation and also learn from it. May Allah Ta'ala guide us aright. Furthermore, the topic given to me by the Islamic Forum of Nigeria is digital economy, where the North stands. This topic is very apt, and I'm highly excited. The first day I received the topic from the Executive Secretary, because I think it is a clear indication that we are making progress, that Islamic institutions and Islamic organizations are not only to organize lectures on only prayer or fasting in the month of Ramadan or traveling for pilgrimage, but rather we must appreciate the fact that economic development is part and parcel of the teaching of our religion. We must agree that whatever affects our life, it is part and parcel of our religion. So I'm highly excited that Islamic Forum of Nigeria invited all of us here in order to discuss digital economy, where the northern part of the country stands. Only last month, I was in Fantami University in Osun State, another faith-based university which has been established by our Muslim brothers and sisters from the southern part of the country, an excellent university. And the discussion was around digital economy, digital innovation, digital entrepreneurship, how the Muslim Ummah can address the challenge of unemployment through digital economy. I'm excited that in the northern part of Nigeria, Islamic Forum of Nigeria emerges as the pioneer in organizing this important discussion, not only to address our Islamic activities directly, but rather to address economic development and how the Muslim Ummah will be part and parcel of this. The effort is commendable, and I pray to the Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala to put the reward in the scale of their good deeds. Digital economy, I will try to summarize the lecture because of our time constraint. Digital economy can easily be defined as the economic activities that depend on digital technologies, fully or partially. Any economic activity that depends on ICT devices, any economic activity that depends on internet, any economic activity that depends on our smartphones or computers, any economic activity that depends on the fourth industrial revolution is part and parcel of a digital economy. With this simple definition, which is a summary of what the World Economic Forum, Oxford Economics, and also International Telecommunication Union presented, that any economic activity that depends on ICT in any way, either fully or partially, is part and parcel of our digital economy. Furthermore, there are two prerequisites to digital economy. It has two necessary ingredients. These two ingredients, number one is digital innovation. Number two is digital entrepreneurship. These are the two prerequisites to building a digital economy. Digital innovation, in summary, can be described as using ICT ideas or technologies in order to address an existing problem through a creative way. When you come up with an ICT idea or a digital idea or ICT device in order to deploy it and address an existing problem or challenge using some creative ways, this is in summary what digital innovation is all about. Today, if you look at it, most of the facilities we make use of are part and parcel of digital innovation. Your smartphone is part and parcel of digital innovation. Most of the applications we download on our phone, they are part and parcel of digital innovation, whether for your health, whether for your commercial activities, whether for your academic activities. As long as you download any application on your computer or smartphone, in order to make use of that, then by implication, you are enjoying a digital innovation. So digital innovation is all about identifying an existing problem. That problem could be a local challenge and it could be a global one. That is why it's part and parcel of soft skills to master how to identify complex problems and come up with innovative ideas to address it. For example, today, many people patronize Uber or Bolt. By implication, this is a digital innovation. When you go online to purchase anything, it's part of digital innovation. When you intend to travel by air and you go online to book your ticket, you are also patronizing digital innovation. When you go online to book your hotel room, it's part and parcel of digital innovation. So all these facilities that we are enjoying day in, day out, they are part and parcel of digital innovation. You transfer money online, is part of it. You go to MTA machine to withdraw your money, is part and parcel of it. You go online, e-commerce platform, in order to purchase something online, is part and parcel of digital innovation. That aside, the second one is digital entrepreneurship. With regards to digital innovation, the first one, today if you look at it, more than 95% of the fourth industrial revolution is about digital innovation. More than 95% of the fourth industrial revolution. And this is the only industrial revolution in which African countries are not far away from the developed countries. As we all know, the first industrial revolution took place in the 18th century with the invention of steam power in the United Kingdom, particularly in Manchester and Liverpool. The invention of steam power brought about the first industrial revolution, while the second industrial revolution was about the invention of electricity, mass production, and many more, which took place in the UK, followed by Belgium, Germany, France, and the United States of America. Even in the second industrial revolution, UK was leading. But some countries were chasing the UK, and they were termed as the chess group: Belgium, France, Germany, and the US. And this took place also in the 19th century. Then the third industrial revolution also was on ICT with the invention of internet, World Wide Web, which brought about globalization, where you sit down and you watch something happening in another part of the world, whether in the US or in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or China. You sit down, you watch it at the time it is happening live. And you also go online to search. So the invention of internet, World Wide Web, and even the advancement in computer brought about the third industrial revolution. So in addition to the countries that excelled in the second industrial revolution, in the third industrial revolution, there were new entries. Japan and Australia, they were part and parcel of the third industrial revolution. none of the African countries was part of the first, second, and third. However, one may wish to argue that there was a technological advancement in some parts of Africa, even prior to the first industrial revolution. In places like Morocco, in Egypt, if you look at the way they built their pyramids, which is among the 7 wonders of the world, and some pyramids are over 3,500 years today, some even over 4,000 years ago. There is no way that this pyramid could be constructed without technological advancement. Even prior to the first, second, and third, there was a form of industrial revolution in Andalus, the modern day Spain, particularly the southern part of Spain, from Madrid, Zaragoza, Mallorca, Cadiz, Cordoba, and many more. And also part of France, like Lyon, Monaco, and the complete part of Portugal. So these 3 places produced what was then Bilad al-Andalus. And also there was an advancement in Baghdad. At that time, Cairo, Baghdad, and Andalus were leading the world in technological advancement. However, modern researchers completely ignored the development in these parts of the world. They only capitalized on the first, second, and third industrial revolution, which took place mostly in Europe and part of America. So, the most important point is the fact that third industrial revolution is about ICT. Then the evolution of ICT brought about the fourth industrial revolution. The fourth industrial revolution is about emerging technologies. And these emerging technologies brought about what we have today as a digital economy. And this is part of the fourth industrial revolution, with the invention of 5G, nanotechnology, biotechnology, cloud computing, augmented reality, virtual reality, autonomous vehicle, Internet of Things or Internet of Everything, artificial intelligence, robotics, and many more. So these are the emerging technologies that brought about digital economy today. And if you look at today, our security system globally depends on digital technologies. Commercial activities, economic activities globally depend on digital technologies. The same with education today, the same with our healthcare system. All of them, you will discover that today they depend on digital technologies. In addition, if we understand what digital innovation is all about, we move to digital entrepreneurship, which is the second part of our digital economy. Digital entrepreneurship, in summary, entrepreneurship is self-employment. When someone employs himself, he becomes an entrepreneur. So entrepreneurship is about being an employer of yourself. You employ yourself. This is what entrepreneurship is all about. So digital entrepreneur is someone who depends on digital technologies to employ himself. By implication, he is the employer and he employs himself. So by implication, he is the employer and the employee. So digital entrepreneurship is about leveraging on digital platforms in order to employ yourself. And by implication or by extension, you also employ others. You employ yourself and you also employ others. So these are the two most important components of a digital economy. Firstly is digital innovation. Secondly is digital entrepreneurship. Today, if you look at the e-commerce, is part of digital entrepreneurship. And you can appreciate the fact that digital entrepreneurship is leading the world. And digital innovation as well. If you look at the richest people today in the world, like Elon Musk, like Jeffrey Bezos and others, you will discover that all of them excel in digital innovation on one hand and digital entrepreneurship on the other. For example, look at Jeffrey Bezos, the founder of Amazon. This will make you to appreciate the power of digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. This guy came up with his startup around 1994 using second-hand computer, partaking in critical thinking in order to solve a complex problem. That complex problem was to provide a platform where potential buyers and potential sellers will come together and interact on that platform. He partook in building that platform, commencing from 1994 up to 2004 without making a profit of $1. He made his first profit around 2004 and early 2005. And by 2017, within only 12 years, he became the richest person in the world. This guy only came up with this digital innovation, and that digital innovation makes him to become a digital entrepreneur, where he brings together potential buyers and potential sellers to interact. And in the course of doing that, he gets his own profit. What I want us to understand from this, Elon Musk doesn't have any shop, doesn't manufacture any product globally. Only what he does was maintaining that platform of Amazon. And he gets something from the activities taking place between buyers and sellers. And that catapulted him to become the richest man in the world for 3 to 4 consecutive years. He had a problem with his wife or partner, and he divorced her. What he gave her as part of the agreement of that divorce, immediately after transferring that money to her account, immediately, only 2 years ago, she became among the richest people in the world, to the extent that no person was richer than her in the entire African continent, with a population of around 1.4 billion and with 54 countries. Look at the power of digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. Up to date, he doesn't have any shop. He doesn't manufacture any product. It's only the platform. Furthermore, the same with Uber. Uber today is the largest and also the biggest taxi institution in the world. But Uber doesn't have any taxis. Only what they do is to establish the platform. When you travel, you go online, try to see how you can get a taxi. From that interaction, they will be able to get their profit. They don't have one taxi, but still, no taxi institution in the world that generates revenue and profit the way they do it. This is the power of digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. And this is what is driving the world economy today. For example, in the US, they admit that digital economy is driving their economy. A research conducted by the US Bureau of Economic Development from 2006 to 2016, 10 years, the traditional economy grew by 1.5%, while the digital economy grew by 5.6%. So if you look at it, the growth rate of digital economy was more than 3 times the growth rate of the traditional or the general economy. Furthermore, when it comes to employment, within a year, around 2016 and 2017, the US government was able to provide jobs for around 8 to 9 million citizens. In China, in 1 year, only around 2018, they created around 191 million new jobs for their citizens, leveraging on digital innovation on one hand and digital entrepreneurship on the other. This is only within 1 year. In addition, let us look at the global economy, come down to Africa, and also narrow down our discussion to Nigeria and finally to northern Nigeria. If you look at the global economy today, according to the International Monetary Fund, IMF, in December 2022, the global economy was 101.6 trillion USD. 101.6 trillion USD, the global economy. And if you look at it, you will discover that the countries that excel in digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship are the ones that are driving the global economy. For example, today, US is hosting the tech giants. More than 60 to 70% of the tech giants are in the US. Without in any way relying on their natural resources. They only provide the enabling environment. They came up with many categories of visa, where if they discover your talent, they will allow you to migrate to the country. You live there. Within few years, you become the citizen of the country. So they have a professional visa they issue to people. As long as they know you can add value to their economy, they make it flexible. You can easily become the citizen of the country. Today, through that, look at it, the vice president of the US came from where? India. The prime minister of the UK is same from India. So if you look at it today, from this 101.6 trillion USD, by December 2022, the gross domestic product of the US was 25 trillion USD. By implication, the US controls around 1/4 or 25% of our global GDP. Followed by India. What brought about that achievement is digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. Followed by China. The GDP of China by IMF by December 2022 was 18.4 trillion USD. What brought about that is digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. Which country has the third largest economy in the world? Japan. The GDP of Japan, 4.3 trillion USD. And the population of Japan is around 125 to 126 million people. And they have the third largest economy. The economy of Japan with 125 million people is bigger than the entire economy of Africa as a continent, with a population of 1.4 billion and also 54 countries. The GDP of Japan is around 4.3, but in Africa today, the entire GDP is around 3 trillion USD. Why? Because it's the digital technology. And the fourth largest economy by December 2022 was Germany. Look at the population of Germany as well. The population of Germany is less than 100 million people. So by implication, their population is less than 50% of our population in Nigeria. But their GDP was more than 4 trillion USD. Beginning of 2022, UK was the fifth largest economy. But by December 2022, India emerged as the fifth ahead of the UK. with a GDP of 3.5 trillion USD, while the UK was 3.2 trillion USD. What catapulted India higher is all about digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. While I was writing my book Skills Rather Than Just Degrees, I was going through the citizens of India, and I discovered that out of 40 tech giants in the world, Indian citizens occupy 37 out of 40 positions globally. And these 37, all of them, or at least 35 out of 37 are associated with one institution there, Indian Institute of Technology, IIT. All of them. What promoted India is all about digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. And these are the two prerequisites to building an indigenous digital economy. Furthermore, in Africa, with a population of around 1.4 billion people, we have the second largest continent, second most populous continent in the world, second to Asia. When it comes to number of countries, there is no continent that has up to 54 countries except Africa. And still, we are leading in diversity. But yet our economy still is only around 3 trillion USD with that population. A country with only 125 million people is far, far ahead of us. That is Japan. And this is highly worrisome. If you look at most of African countries, except maybe North African countries like Morocco, Algeria, Egypt, North African countries are doing well, and some South African countries. Still, West Africa, Nigeria is not doing bad. The same with Ghana, with all the challenges of inflation. But if you look at more than 90% of African countries, the situation is highly, highly worrisome. Why is worrisome? Is the fact that if you want to manage poverty, your population growth rate should be lower than your economic growth rate. If your population growth is higher than your economic growth, then by implication, that poverty will continue to increase. Today, in most of our countries, including Nigeria, there is no doubt our population growth is higher than our economic growth. There is no doubt. So by implication, if you compute our GDP per capita, GDP per head, you will discover that it is coming down. Why? Because our population growth is higher than our economic growth. So the poverty will continue to increase. And if you look at the countries that their GDP per head is increasing, you will discover that most of them today are not in any way relying on their natural resources, but rather they leverage on digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. If you look at the best economy in the world, not in terms of quantity, but rather in GDP per capita, you will discover that most of them are not in any way leveraging on natural resources, but rather they leverage on their talent to come up with innovative ideas. And they export their talent and their ideas. And this catapulted them to be leading the world in the area of GDP per head. Number one country when it comes to GDP per head is in Europe, a small country, Luxembourg, followed by, which country is number 2? Switzerland. Number 3 is Ireland. Number 4 is Norway. Number 5 is the US. Up to, you will not discover a country with natural resources till around 8 and 9, that is Qatar. But all the countries leading if they are blessed with natural resources, you discover that they prioritize skills, particularly coming up with innovative solutions. Let us take another example in order to explain this better. Luxembourg is leading the world in the area of GDP per head, while the US is leading the world in the area of GDP, nominal GDP. Both of them prioritize skills, prioritize digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. They encourage their citizens to partake in critical thinking, identify complex problems, and come up with innovative ideas and implement these innovative ideas for global consumption. That is what they usually do. And if you look at, for example, some selected cities in the world that excel in innovation, you will discover that their economy is also leading the world. Take, for example, Silicon Valley in the United States of America. Silicon Valley is part of southern San Francisco. I was there even last month in December 2022. I had a meeting with Special Study of Elon Musk in the US. Today, if Silicon Valley were to be a country, it will be the best economy globally, GDP per head, ahead of Luxembourg, Switzerland, and others. It's not even a country, but if Silicon Valley were to be a country, this will be the situation. The entire landmass of Silicon Valley is around 1,845 square miles. So by implication, you can say a state like Kano, which is around 20 to 21,000 square kilometers, you can safely say that, and Kano is the second smallest state in northern Nigeria. When it comes to landmass, Kano is the second smallest state in northern Nigeria. In the area of landmass, Kano is only bigger than the state in the entire northern Nigeria in terms of landmass. So if you look at it, Kano, which is the second smallest in northern Nigeria, could be even 10 times bigger than the Silicon Valley. And not to talk of Niger State, with a landmass of 96,000 square kilometers approximately. So by implication, when we wish to say that Niger could be even 30 times the size of Silicon Valley, Luxembourg with the highest economy per head in 2021, you will discover was 116,000 USD. But Silicon Valley in 2021 was up to 128,000 USD. So by implication, Silicon Valley with 128,000 USD could even be higher than the highest country, the biggest economy per head, Luxembourg, with around 16,000 USD per head. And in Nigeria, our GDP per head is just little higher than 2,000 USD. But Silicon Valley is 128,000 USD per head. Look at the gap. What they did in Silicon Valley around 1979, the name was coined by John Hoffler. He was one of the founders of Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley is being termed as the tech capital of the world. Most of these technology companies emerged from Silicon Valley. Go and see, count them all. Most of them are from Silicon Valley, and it's a very small area. And it's all about providing mentorship, which I hope I will speak on how our northern part of Nigeria will be able to learn from Silicon Valley and other tech cities in the world, because this is very important indeed. When you come to Nigeria, our economy in Nigeria as at December 2022 was valued around 504 billion USD, which of course is the largest in Africa, followed by Egypt, then South Africa, then Algeria, then Morocco. With 504 billion USD is a huge amount. However, number one, our economy in Nigeria is more of a private sector economy. Because if you compute our national aggregate demand on one hand, and the entire federation revenue accommodates 36 states plus FCT, you will discover that 36 states plus FCT are contributing less than 8% to our collective national aggregate demand. So by implication, the private sector controls more than 92% of our GDP in Nigeria. However, due to lack of awareness and mentorship, still our younger ones in northern Nigeria fail to understand why it is important to go into private sector as digital innovators, as digital entrepreneurs, as employees. We always prioritize working under government. There is no harm in doing that. The whole life is nothing but division of labor. However, we must agree that your career development, your capacity building, the opportunities all over the world are better in the private sector than in government. And this is what the southern part of the country understands. Today, when you travel to the US, to Microsoft, I was there, you will discover many Nigerians. Out of 50, you can hardly see one from northern part of the country. I was in Microsoft before, I was in Apple, I was in Silicon Valley. Recently, I was even in White House for US African Leaders Summit. I met many Nigerians. None of them was of the northern part. Why? We fail to understand what is driving the economy today. Any graduate, his intention is to get employed by government, at local government, state or federal government. This is our situation. The world is changing. All over the world, working under government is not the priority. If you discover it is not the priority, why the opportunities are not there? We always say job security. Where is job security? The job security is not in the employer, but rather is in the employee. Recently, Elon Musk took over Twitter. Immediately, he sacked some of their senior staff. At the end, he couldn't manage the company without them. He had to go to them, apologize and lobby them to come back. Without them, Twitter cannot be sustained globally. And they gave him some conditions and he accepted. And they returned to work for him. This is job security. Build your capacity to the extent that any institution you leave, that institution will not be the same. This is job security. The job security is not in the employer, but rather in the employee. Look at the economy of Lagos. What is driving the economy of Lagos today is not just about the geographical location of Lagos only. Lagos is not more than 4,000 square kilometers. The smallest state in northern Nigeria is 5 times the size of Lagos state. But the economy of Lagos, if you look at the internally generated revenue of Lagos, is not in any way related to that, but rather the concentration of companies in Lagos. The concentration is number one, and most importantly, to be just, to be fair and just, Lagos was the capital of Nigeria. That one will continue to make Lagos very relevant. If you go to Turkey, they transferred the capital to Ankara, but still Istanbul is little bit foreign. You cannot take that away historically, there is no doubt about it. But if you look at the tech giants that are coming to Nigeria, more than 97% of them are in Lagos. And this is what is driving the economy today. The IGR of Lagos coming from these companies and others, today if you put it together, is higher than the IGR of the entire 19 northern states combined. With a population that could not in any way be less than 120 to 130 million people. In addition, when it comes to Nigeria, firstly in Africa, we are battling with the challenge of unemployment and sometimes unemployability and even underemployment. According to the International Labour Organization, we have approximately 420 million youth in Africa within the workforce bracket. Out of this, 1/3 of this population is unemployed. So by implication, one may wish to say we have a minimum of 140 million youth that are unemployed in Africa. And another 1/3 from that underemployed. So by implication, another 140 million youth are underemployed. Only 140 million youth are employed. But the remaining 280 million youth are either unemployed or underemployed. This is a time bomb. If you come to Nigeria, based on the report of the National Bureau of Statistics, only last year, the general unemployment in the country is about 33.3%. However, I always argue that NBS, when computing their statistics, and I mentioned this to the DG when he visited me in Abuja, during the computation, they usually ignore informal jobs being created. They focus more on formal jobs. And secondly, decisions and computation and statistics are being connected online. Most of the things that are being conducted offline are not recorded. However, looking at the situation NBS is conducting this, their effort is highly commendable because they have so many challenges, so they are doing well. But when it comes to youth unemployment in Nigeria, one may wish to say, based on that report, that our youth unemployment was around, in 2020, was around 22.5%. So by implication, around 48% of our youth are either unemployed or seriously underemployed. What is the major problem to this and what is the solution to it? The major problem to this, I'm sorry to say, firstly, we lack mentorship in Nigeria, in northern Nigeria today. There is no mentorship. I'm not ruling out that we have some that are doing their best. We have some selected personalities and some selected organizations that are partaking in mentorship. But looking at our population, that is highly inadequate. Number two, the quality of our population is dropping and diminishing by the day. The quality of youth 30 years ago cannot in any way be equated to our youth today. Most of them are energetic, but they are not willing to suffer and establish their career. They are looking for easy money. When you advise them about what they need to do, they will answer, is it what you are doing today? But none of them studied your biography. None of them know how you suffered in life before you attain where you are today. They only look at the position you occupy. You are a vice chancellor, You are a commissioner there, the rector of that polytechnic, a businessman. So they just want to be like you. But in the course of being like you, they don't want to suffer. And the major challenge, anyone who advises our youth will be criticized, will be insulted, irrespective of his age, or his knowledge religiously, or his status in our community. Today in northern Nigeria, our traditional institutions can always be criticized by our population. But if you go to the southern part of the country, there are some of our friends and colleagues. You cannot go to their states and criticize their traditional leaders, even if they make a mistake. I know a former minister who criticized his emir. He had to come out and apologize online and travel to the state and apologize. And it was not a bad statement. But today Sultan will just come out and announce about new crescent of Ramadan or Shawwal. Somebody will sit at the comfort of his house at the age of 18 when we criticize him. Our respected scholars, some of them are 80 years, 90 years, like Professor Murshid here with us, Ganadenshi. Elderly people, people like Sheikh Tahir Bauchi, people like Sheikh Sadiya Hayat Jingir, all of them, anyone can be criticized as long as what he says is contrary to our opinion. So we live in a situation that no one is respected. Anyone can be criticized today by our population. I know in 70s and 80s, one could not look at the eyes of a friend to his elder brother and say you are telling lie. It could not be possible. Even a friend to your elder brother. But today, the situation is no more the same. People without religion, when we visit their country, they respect their elders more than what we do here in northern Nigeria. So our situation is exactly what Sa'ad describes. Jahilci ya ci na karo duka, ya sa mana sarka haguya, ya sa mana abuwa haguna, babunan mu ya sa takunkumi ba zalaka sai sharholiya. Ya ce wadda al'umma mai zata a cikin zarafofin duniya. Ya ce kai bahaushe ba shi da zuciya za ya sha kunya nan duniya. Mu dai haƙƙin mu gaya muku ko ku karba ko ku yi dariya. Dariyar ku takan zan kuka gaba da nadamar da kin gaskiya. Gaskiya ba ta neman al'umma. Gaskiya ba ta neman al'umma. Wannan zakin muryar zabiya ƙarya ne mai launi bakwai. Ga fari da baki ga da waya, ga kore ga kuma algashi, toka-toka da ja sun garwaya. This is our situation. Ya ce wadda al'umma mai zata wo a cikin zarafofin duniya. Today with our population, for example in Nigeria, there are 5 unicorns that originated from Nigeria, out of 7 in Africa. Unicorn is a startup that has a market value of a minimum of 1 billion USD. And these unicorns are established by youth. I visited most of them. They had been established by our friends in the southern part of the country. Go to see Open, Flutterwave, and Data. Mention them. There is none from northern Nigeria. And I'm sorry to say, all the challenges we inherited to provide the enabling environment, Almighty will be our witness. All the challenges in the north, we have addressed them significantly. Number one, in order to support our youth, we came up with National Startup Act 2022. President Muhammad Buhari, our principal, assented to it on the 19th of October 2022. If you go through whatever you need to be successful in digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship is there, seed funding, tax holiday, intellectual property, pioneer status, whatever you think of, including establishing establishing a presidential and national digital innovation and entrepreneurship council to be chaired by the president of Nigeria. This has been addressed. By 2019, when I became the minister in charge of communications and digital economy, we discovered that the broadband and internet gap in Nigeria, if you compute it, the places without internet, without broadband, 97% of that was in northern Nigeria. Only 3% was in the southern part of the country. But today, through our engagement with Elon Musk, Starlink, now we have satellite broadband. We can safely say that if you buy their facilities, in any part of Nigeria, you will get access to a world-class broadband, which is key to digital innovation and digital entrepreneurship. Today is 100%. Establishing an intervention in institutions, government, private, and community service, we have been doing that. From 2016 in NIDA to 2019 in current position, Almighty will be our witness, from establishing ICT centers to organizing training to providing intervention. I implemented over 2,600 all over the country. To the extent that we are providing ICT digital economy centers in religious centers for both Muslims and Christians. In Kano, we have done so many. Outside government, outside private sector, outside community centers, in religious centers, we have established many. This Imam al-Bukhari Foundation under Dr. Sani, we have done that. Currently, there is a school under Dr. Kano we have constructed. Under Sheikh, there is ongoing project. And this is an example. In each and every state, you will discover that we have established a minimum of 30 to 40 ICT or digital economy center for our youth to utilize and build their capacity. But most of them, when they get unlimited internet, they go online. When they sit down on the computer after an hour, when you search, it's just mind-boggling. Their interest is no more on entrepreneurship. It's no more on building their skills. A recent statistics conducted vindicated what I'm saying now. If you go through history, you discover that most of our people online in northern Nigeria, when they go online to search, they will search maganin maza, maganin karfin maza, maganin mata. These are the issues. But if you go to certain parts, you will discover searching about ChatGPT. What are the modern artificial intelligence applications? You will discover certifications that are being conducted globally. But our youth, whenever they get married, they will start searching all these things online. In Nigeria, we formally established digital economy sector and digital economy ministry in October 2019. Because of time constraint, we go through briefly. When I took over as a minister on 21st August 2019, I briefed my principal President Muhammad Buhari about the challenges I discovered and my proposal on how to turn things around. Mr. President approved the establishment of a digital economy in Nigeria, development of national digital economy policy, and also redesignating the ministry from the Federal Ministry of Communications to Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. We developed a national digital economy policy and strategy for a digital Nigeria in order to diversify our economy away from oil and gas. Mr. President approved that. We developed the policy with 8 pillars. Number 1, developmental regulation. Number 2, digital literacy and skills. Number 3, solid infrastructure. Number 4, service infrastructure. Number 5, digital society, digital services development and promotion. Number 6, soft infrastructure. Number 7, digital society and emerging technology. Number 8, indigenous content development and promotion. I'm trying to increase my pace because of time. These pillars are all being implemented. And with their implementation, we have turned things around today. Today, the contribution of ICT sector alone, without accommodating other components of digital economy, ICT sector is contributing almost 3 times the contribution of oil and gas to our GDP in Nigeria. Almost 3 times. That is what economic diversification is all about. We set up 3 unprecedented records. In the first quarter of 2020, ICT sector contributed 14.07 to our GDP. It was unprecedented then. In the second quarter of 2021, ICT sector contributed 17.92%. It was unprecedented then. Last year, we set a new record. In the second quarter of 2022, by contributing 18.44% to our GDP, while oil and gas was contributing only 6.something% to the GDP. We increased revenue generation through digital economy. Recently, Mr. President directed an independent assessors to assess each and every sector and ministry based on the priority areas given to them. I was given 8 priority areas. With all sense of humility, I was able to deliver with the support of all my colleagues, A+ in each and every one. I was given 8 priorities. And the assessment, the result of the assessment was presented during ministerial retreat on the 17th and 18th October 2022. Mr. President was there. KPMG and FCDO, Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office in the United Kingdom, with KPMG in collaboration with Office of the Secretary Government of the Federation, assessed each and every ministry based on the priority areas. We were given 8. Priority number 1 given to me, which I personally signed like an undertaking that we must deliver, is to ensure broadband penetration in Nigeria. Under that one, I got 134%, while 70% is in. 2, 4G penetration in Nigeria, we obtained 127%. Number 3, digitalization of government processes and functions. We got 99%. Number 4, to support digital identity, we got 86%. Number 5, to increase revenue generation for government, which according to the government is the most important priority assigned to me. We increased revenue generation by 594%. When I took over as the minister, the revenue generation from our sector was, quarterly, was 51 billion. But today is 408 billion. Number 6 is to develop national digital economy policy and implement. Under that one, we got 103%. Then number 7 is to collaborate with the private sector to create job opportunities for citizens. Under that one, we got 111%. And number 8 is citizens empowerment through ICT. We obtained 137%. So our highest score in the digital economy sector was revenue generation 594%. While the lowest is digital identity NIM is 86%. However, let me give you the statistics. NIMC was established in 2007. Up to October 2022, when it was transferred to our supervision. Within these 13 years, they enrolled only 39 million citizens in 13 years, where government spent billions of naira. From October 2022, when the news was transferred to my supervision, no single kobo was given to me. But we increased the enrollment. As at 15 January 2023, the enrollment figure stood by 95 million. So we increased 56 million in 2 years and 3 months, while we inherited only 39 million in 13 years. So this is the report. The report was presented to His Excellency Mr. President. He sent a special commendation to me that you have delivered what has been given to you. And when I went to him, he said, I'm thankful to the Almighty for blessing me with somebody like you. You have not betrayed the trust. And we have established many centers to support our youth. In summary, let me summarize the maybe solution to other challenges. Firstly, we need to prioritize mentorship. It's not easy because managing our youth today is not easy. They can insult anybody. Today in northern Nigeria, nobody is above that insult. Nobody in northern Nigeria. But in the southern part of